Welcome to Gussied Up. Today we are going to be making yeasted waffles, which is just like a normal waffle, but you use yeast in it so that the dough has a little bit more flavor. It has a little bit more tang to it. Also, it gets a little bit more chew and leavening from that yeast because it's yeasted. It's like a bread. You're going to start with warm milk. To that, you're going to add in butter, and you need to melt that down. 1 stick of butter into 2 1/4 cups of milk. When the milk is the right temperature, the butter should melt slowly into it. If you put the butter in and it melts right away, your milk is too hot. Just let it cool down just a little bit. It'll kill your yeast because yeast it's living, right? So too high of heat and your yeast is gonna die. Now, pour this into our bowl. Now we're gonna give something for the yeast to eat on even more, and that's 2 tablespoons of sugar. Mix that in. It'll kind of melt all down. And then we're just going to sprinkle our yeast, right? Now we're going to let that yeast bloom for about 5 minutes before we add in any of our flour. So this is going to end up tasting a lot like a brioche, right? Because of the fat that we have in it. We're also going to add eggs to the waffle batter. So you're going to get an enriched dough. It's going to be very, very fatty. It's going to be very, very delicious. It's going to feel like rich. We're gonna add 1 teaspoon of salt to 2 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. Just give that a little bit of whisk. And then slowly you're gonna add in your flour to your waffle batter. I'm using a dough whisk because that'll make it a little bit easier. So a little bit goes in and just give it a stir. A little bit in, give it a little stir. A little bit more, right? You can also get a really great texture to waffles just by whipping your egg whites. That'll absolutely give you delicious texture and like a real good fluff to it. But it will not change the flavor. And what we're working with this yeasted dough and adding in all these fats and letting the dough mature is we're really talking about a different flavored waffle. Something that feels like a little bit more special. Okay, so see how it's coming together? Now, you just want to beat it till it's smooth. Now, this is the big part. You got to let it hang out, okay? So we're going to cover it with a towel or with plastic wrap, and you put it in the refrigerator for at least an hour up to overnight. I prefer overnight. You're going to see it grow. But you can also do this in an hour. In an hour, it will be ready to go. You'll have enough rise out of it. And you can see already, see those bubbles? Those bubbles like popping, that's the yeast working. Cover and let it go for at least an hour up into overnight. Okay, now, hello, princess. Look at that. See where it's risen? Now, we got to do a couple more steps. First, we're going to whip our eggs up. This is going to add some structure and stability to our waffles. It's also going to give us some more texture, especially by whipping it. So give that a little whisk. Whip your eggs, and once they're like kind of foamy, add in your baking soda. 1/4 teaspoon of baking soda goes in with your eggs. That 1/4 teaspoon of leavener is going to act as though you whipped your egg whites. Now, we're going to put our egg mixture into our waffle batter. Give those a whisk. Again, enriching the dough, making it even more flavorful. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Yeasted waffles in my tummy. Okay, so look at that. Look at that batter, you guys. Look at the texture of that. You're gonna get a little bit of chew because of the development of the gluten, and you're gonna get a lot of richness, a lot of creaminess, and we're also gonna get a lot of like tang from that yeasted dough. All right, let's cook this baby. Hot waffle iron. Spray it with a little bit of pan spray. Some of our batter. That's gonna look good. Is that the right amount of batter? About 1 1/2. Let's try it. Batter in and flip. Okay, so you're gonna know that your waffle's done. It'll, like most waffle irons will say like, it's ready now. But the way I really look at it is when it stops steaming. Look at this baby. Okay, girl. Look at this. You ready to see a waffle? She looks pretty good. That waffle looks good. Okay, we're gonna lift this bad boy out. Let's see if you can hear the crunch. That's the sound of the waffle, the crispy waffle. Now, let's put some butter on it. A little fruit. Don't mind if I do. And then I like to put a little powdered sugar. What are you even talking about? You ready to try this? You all look golden, crispy, buttery, powdered sugar, and on the inside we have the flavor of a yeasted dough. Look at all that texture. Look at all those little air bubbles and fluff. You see that? That's because of the yeasted dough. It smells so good. Buttery, it tastes yeasted. It really has that developed flavor that you get from a yeast bread. The waffle on its own is so good that you just need a little bit of powdered sugar, a little bit of butter and fruit. That's all you need. You just want to keep it simple, classic. I can't wait for you to try the difference between a traditional waffle and a yeasted waffle. Let me know in the comments below what you think when you try this recipe out. And thank you so much for watching another episode of Gussied Up, where we take old-fashioned recipes and we give them a new-fashioned twist. I'll see you next time. Bye. Let's cook some waffles. We're just cooking waffles.